Do you think the demand for software engineers would reduce?
Software engineers will need to think about themselves as complete full stack engineers.
All this mixed with AI is going to impact the IT services industry.
The biggest challenge what many of the larger companies have, SIs, BPOs, is to cannibalize their own revenue stream.
And especially now that you're also focusing on Indian startups. So how much skin in the game do you actually want when you're investing in a startup?
My contribution is capital, your contribution is your effort, your intellect, everything. You put your life on this. Don't think that one is better than the others. They're both important.
Why do you think that lag is still there, moving from POCs to production?
Demos and pilots are not relevant anymore.
So how has it been like being a founder and now investing?
It is a gut-wrenching and it is an intense exercise. Taking somebody's money, figuring out where to invest, be accountable for that.
Welcome to Tech Talks. I have a very interesting guest with me today. Has been an enterprise leader for the longest time, for 2 decades and more than that. And now he started investing in consumer tech and AI as well. And without any more ado, thank you so much, Hemanth, for coming to our show, and we'll show you some images. And we just wanted to react to it and maybe tell us a little bit of a story about
it. That's a beautiful addition to our portfolio just recently. Again, this speaks for Ash and our team, Amrita, and rest of the team's foresight about how well as a fund today, we understand India consumer.
Okay. Yeah.
And if you look at all our brands, you will see a common theme of these mass premium to premium products. And when I put my brand chart in front of young person, he says, "Oh, I use at least 8 of these companies in their products." Right?
That's exactly what.
Another fantastic addition to our portfolio.
We were just looking at the images, and one of our producers said, "I wear Gully Lab shoes every time." So he wanted to put that there.
Awesome. Wow, that's a great team.
So can you tell us something about?
And this is an interesting one. This is the founding team that came out of a legal tech company.
Okay.
They came and talked to us and said, we have been last 20 years collectively, they're working together in this particular segment. We see an opportunity which is very narrow.
Okay.
We want to be revenue management for law firms. But when we looked at the team, their understanding of the market, what other people are doing, where are the gaps, why is that problem so relevant to that market? We were really impressed. When I look at those founders, they've never done a startup before. Right? This is the first time they're coming out there. But we went ahead and just invested pre-product. This was literally a few screenshots, which was Figma.
Wow.
And we went in, and today I can say that they are shaking in that and shaking the whole industry in that space, that they now have 30 plus customers.
300% growth.
300% growth. And large law firms are referring each other. The CFO of a law firm will call another CFO and say, we just implemented this. This is the best decision I've made in last 2 years. You should also buy it. So this is enterprise. They take a long time to make decisions.
Yeah.
And they're selling through referrals. There's one who solicited referrals.
Interesting thing that I noticed was that most of the founders are Indians that you have invested in. This is there a philosophy behind it, or that's just
first and foremost, we are a cross-border fund.
Yeah,
we are the India-US corridor fund. So definitely, thesis is based on the intellectual capital and the experience that Indian diaspora has built. That's one part. And because we do cross-border, we have access to a lot of good talent across both the shores, but in this community. Second piece, Indians have done phenomenally well when it comes to the enterprise. But IT, to start with, they went in enterprise software with all these larger companies they've been in. And as that talent has matured and has been coming out to take their first risk or second risk or third risk, we fortunately sitting in the valley for last 30 plus years and having a sizable base here in Bangalore, that becomes our cohort, not by design, but mostly by philosophy and access.
Makes sense.
And we are extremely excited about it.
Let's go to the next.
Well, that's Khosla, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Great personality, very respected in the valley. And these guys are big visionaries. These are the ones who charted path for our diaspora on a global stage and made people recognize us, right?
Yeah.
And all of us, thousands and hundreds of thousands of us have worked hard, and all of you guys.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're thankful to folks like him.
The
Put us
first
on
to
the map.
invested in OpenAI as well. So I think
There's the visionaries who put us on the map. So high respect for folks like him and him personally.
great. Yeah. So those are all the images we had. Can you tell us a little bit about how did you get into this space, and how are you, like, you were an enterprise leader, you're working at Infosys, and then you went to the US, and now you're also investing in startups. So can you tell us about the journey?
So it was a little bit different journey in that sense. My association with technology is a lot more as an entrepreneur founder as compared to the enterprise leader. So in my career, I've done 4 startups. I have started 4 companies. I have had 2 companies that had a pretty good outcome. One company, the first one did very well. The second one took all the money and lost it that I had made in the first one. But then in between my third and the fourth startup, I spent a few years, about 8 years at Infosys. So my exposure to enterprise leadership is only those 8 years. Other than that, I have lived as founder entrepreneur all my life.
Yeah.
So after selling my last company in 2020, that was Inquero that I sold to Impact. I did my founder's transition, and then when I was coming out 2 years later, thinking about maybe going for the fifth one. And Saama Capital, where now I am a partner, I look after enterprise AI, enterprise tech investments for Saama. The founder, Ash, is a good friend. I've been LP with the fund. Said, hey, why don't you go and come and try this? Why don't you come, instead of doing another one, work with many founders and then share your operational founder entrepreneurship experience with the founders and with the virtual, and put the money behind where your mouth is. And so it sounded exciting. So I joined Saama Capital as a partner back in 22, and I've been investing in tech companies since then.
Yeah. So it has been 3 years now since you've been investing.
A little over 3 years, yes.
So how has it been, like, being a founder and now investing? Like, that definitely gives you a better lens of how things are working, and especially now that you're also focusing on Indian startups and the startups that are building for the world. How do you assess them? What is the lens like for you?
So how does it feel? First of all, let me address that. When I was on the other side as a founder entrepreneur, I always look at VCs. I think they're big high-flying people. What do? They give you money. They bet other people's money on you. We didn't have much of a view as to what goes on this side of the world.
That is how I look at it.
Right? So now come on this side, right? And I can tell you, it is a gut-wrenching and it is intense exercise. Taking somebody's money, figuring out where to invest, be accountable for that, be responsible for that, and seeing that you're going to give them returns.
Yeah.
And the results don't come next day, next week, next month, next year. They take 4, 5, 7, 10 years. So that whole conviction that you have put in something, and that keeps you nagging to say, have I done the right thing? I wouldn't know the results till few years out, is a very different mindset. You need different kind of acumen, different kind of temperament to live with that. And now I immensely respect people who do investing.
Yeah, it's a lot of responsibility.
It's a lot of responsibility. Now, on the other side,
Yeah.
fun of this job itself is, first of all, meeting so many bright people every day.
Yeah.
People with aspirations, dreams, ideas, and it's just contagious. You wake up to see, what am I learning? So every day is a learning opportunity, right? Second piece is where you put the conviction in. Once you put a conviction, start working with them. Having gone through ups and downs of building any business, forget startup. Maybe it's a business unit within a large company. It's never a straight line.
Yeah.
It's always a very windy path through ups and downs and peaks and valleys. And those are not just peaks and valleys, also emotional peaks and valleys. And we are all humans. We have families, we have friends, we have lives. It impacts. So having gone through that cycle many times, now as an investor, it gives me a view into the empathetic lens to what a founder would be going through.
Yeah.
So then ethos of Saama is we work with our founders very closely.
Okay.
And that's what really excites me to, as every company that I back and I'm the lead partner, amount of time I get to spend with them, be part of their problems, be part of their solution. But to an extent to say they are running it, I can only be suggesting, helping, but can't be dictating the solution to them. And they had to figure it out, right? So I think that's the whole journey of a founder, entrepreneur, operator, and investor. They are very different lenses.
Yeah.
And I'm still 3.5 years in. I'm still figuring out what is the best way to continue to remove the parallax of those lenses, right?
Yeah.
And I think I see it more clearer and clearer as days go by.
Yeah.
But I couldn't have asked for more. I'm honestly been blessed.
Yeah. I mean, I think this clears a lot of things, because a lot of people in India, startups, keep talking about that investors not putting in money. We have so much dry powder. I think it takes a lot of responsibility to take those bets as well. So I think you put it very well. So, but as you were saying, like, you don't want to be a dictator. You don't want to tell startups what to do. So how much skin in the game do you actually want when you're investing in a startup? Like, I mean,
there's no formula of how much skin in the game you want. You do also understand different investors come at different phases of the life cycle. Right? Yeah. People who are writing 250K checks, people who write $1 million checks, people who write 3 million, 10 million. You know the whole angel pre-seed, seed, series A, etc. And everybody has a certain stage in that life cycle. The involvements do vary. Kind of problems also are very different at different sizes of life cycle. We're typically, we investors, we are typically the first institutional check. We do a seed check anywhere between say $1.5 to $3 million. Now at that stage, either you are pre-product, you are some early product pre-customer, or you may have product and customer both, but you are now in this early gestation period of your first revenue. We're getting from 0 to 1, getting from 0 to 5 journey, right? And in that, if you calibrate, the expectation is an honest relationship. I always tell the founders, we know things will go wrong. We have been down this path. Yeah. You're not alone in this journey. We have given you capital. We are your partners. Now, my contribution is capital. Your contribution is your effort, your intellect, everything. You put your life on this. Yeah. So don't think that one is better than the others. They're both important. Yeah. What I want you to do is, as you execute on the business, even if you have a pressure point, you have something that's nagging you, just pick up the phone and call and just discuss to say, hey, and even it extends to the stage that you have a personal problem in life. You had a fight with your wife and that's impacting you. It's okay. I'm your friend. Just call and we'll talk about it. Have a coffee. And that's how I've seen rest of our team work with other founders that I've been doing this for 3 years. The fund has been doing this for 20 years. 20 years. And we see that consistently. And I think what I have observed, what Ash does, my partner and other partners do, this has worked very well for us. And it's truly the right way of enjoying the business that you do. Yeah. So there's no need for us to say this much involvement. Based on the maturity of the founder, the problem statement, you can step back, you can step in, but never at the stage where we take the control. Because think about it, in this business, they have to execute. We are here to support. We are here to find ways around the challenges.
Yeah. So what is the most important thing that you look at when a founder comes to you and they're pitching an idea to you? So is it like how we see on TV shows like Shark Tank India or something? Is it that kind of a scenario, or do you look at something very different? How is it like?
But I'll give you one plug before I get into the answer. By the way, 3 of the sharks on Shark Tank are our founders.
Yes.
So we are very proud of that. Yeah. Second piece is when he talked about what do we look for? Look, and I think that will transcend across all 3, but I'll be very concise on when I look at enterprise tech, because my answer has a little nuance on that. First and foremost, and also one is the sector I look at and the stage we go in. Okay. Yeah. As I said, we go sometimes pre-revenue, pre-customer, sometimes pre-product, right? You want to look at, have the founders build enough understanding of the problem they are solving, okay, who they are solving this for, why the person or the target person that you're selling this solution to, who you're solving this for, why would they care, how do they buy, how large that market is. The kind of understanding of the market, to me, is a lot more important merely than I have a good technology and let me try here and let me try there. Yeah. That doesn't mean technology is not important, actually. First it starts with the market. Do you understand the market, and are you building for the market that needs the solution? Do you understand who buys? Do you understand how you'll get to that market? You don't have to have solved the problem. Do you understand? And have you done enough research on this? And Do you have seat at the table or credentials in that market to serve it?
Okay.
Right? That becomes important. Second piece that becomes important, because now I'm in technology business, differentiation is because you're disrupting whatever you're trying to do through technology. So do you have jobs within the founding team that you can build world-class technology? So earlier it was okay to find a domain-led founders and we'll find a CTO later on, we'll find an engineering head later on. I think with the pace that technology is moving with AI, we prefer to see both the understanding of the space and ability to build technology at the same time. Maybe if one person can bring both, then they're superstars. Maybe there are two people in the team. Kind of look to make sure that you have a reason to have a seat at the table.
Yeah.
And secondly is you have a complete found in the founding team. After all of this, once you look at it, most important thing is, do they have hunger in the belly?
Yeah. Yeah.
How hungry are these founders? Are they doing because this is nice thing to do and they will have a good social status to be called entrepreneurs?
Or maybe AI is trending right now.
Or because they're so excited about the technology, they say, if I make this toaster, everybody will buy it.
AI toaster.
Right? So, but founders have come from all walks of life. But I think the passion to solve the problem that they intensely feel about is something very important.
Have you, can you share any example where a startup or a founder came to you and they were just throwing jargons and you were like, why did I come to this meeting? You don't have to take the name, obviously. Has it ever happened to you? Like for the toast example, like this is
It actually happens all the time.
Yeah.
And honestly, you'll be surprised to see that those founders are a lot more experienced professionals or executives who have made a lot of money in the past than the founders who are brand new, young ones out of college.
Oh, is it?
Sorry, it's a contrarian statement, because sometimes what happens is when you work in large companies, and there's nothing wrong about it, but people come out with the entitlement of what I bring to the table as me, individual, because I have done such for this large $1 billion, several $100 billion brand, as compared to uh, as compared to uh, the focus and a narrow focus on the problem that I will solve,
Yes.
and I'll have to earn my seat at the table. So, way I say this is, am I looking at a business pitch or am I looking at entitlement pitch?
Okay.
So I see in those situations, people are selling their entitlement to have a seat at the table because they come from a certain background, versus people who are really done enough research and they talk business.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Right? So we see it all the time.
Yeah.
And then on the other side, when you see young founders, they are extremely energetic. They are aspirational. They like to build. But many times they use technology jargon on the other side and take you into weeds of technology.
Yeah.
And we encourage them to say, this is great. I think you're doing on the right path. Just figure out these few things. Go answer these 5 questions. Who will you sell to? All the stuff that I talked about. But what happens is these founders are hungry. They come back every 45 to 60 days and come back and say, I solved this, what you told me.
Yeah.
So then you see that pattern. And now founders who I would have spoken to 2 years ago, we go through this entire pattern, and 2 years later, then I feel they're ready to be invested in.
Right.
It's phenomenal. We see it all the time.
There was I was scrolling Twitter, I think 1 or 2 weeks back, and there's always this new startup that comes in. We are building a chat GPT for this. We are building a cursor for this. So I think that idea generation, as you said, right, the entitlement part, I think that is actually true. Some people are just looking for problems, not exactly like creating problems with the solution they already have. I think that is also sometimes there. So when it comes to the enterprise part, like you are focused on enterprise AI. So a lot of people who are selling to enterprises their AI solutions, they often get stuck in POCs and they are still stuck in demos. They're not moving into production. So how do you support founders who are doing that? And why do you think that lag is still there, moving from POCs to production?
Yeah. I think the world has shifted. Erstwhile, SaaS sold in a very different way. The technology was very different. And I can elaborate a little bit if it helps. When we were selling, way back in 80s, 90s, People build everything custom for their businesses, and only large companies could afford large technology. They will have mainframe, mid-range servers or mini frames or whatever they had at the time. People will build their own applications for order management, procurement, so on and so forth, right? But only certain handful of companies could afford that. Then we came into the client server, actually PC client server era.
Okay.
When people started building more client server applications and came in the ERPs at that time to say, I'm going to bring a standard application that will be fit for your business, but you can customize it to a greater extent to make it work for you. But what I'm standardizing is a one number system instead of having multiple of these applications. So ERP sold in a certain way. For every dollar of license that ERP company sold, maybe $10 were spent on services with likes of Accenture, Infosys, TCS, etc. And that was no.
Yeah.
Then we moved into a SaaS era. So what did ERP do? ERP went ahead and did the single number systems and got rid of a lot of bespoke applications.
Okay.
Right. Then we moved into SaaS era. And what SaaS said that when we sold ERP, what we said that go ahead and buy this application and get your organization to operate on a one view of data. What SaaS came and said that, but you can customize the hell out of it.
Yeah.
What SaaS said is, don't customize anything. I bring you best of class application for a specific need for your industry. Everybody gets the same thing, but very rapid. Since the cloud happened, it's deployed on the cloud. We will be sending new features every few weeks so that you are staying always up to date. Just modify your business process to fit my software.
Okay.
And this is where SaaS exploded. And there were hundreds of SaaS companies that are successful, right? Actually, what SaaS typically did 90% of the time, it automated a workflow based on nice user experience, underlying relation database or what may, on a multi-tier architecture on cloud, so that you have best of class application very specific for your function, for your industry, that automated a workflow. And but people still sat on top of that workflow making decisions.
Okay.
You were sitting in front of a nicer screen in a CRM and looking at a pipeline, absorbing the data. You're adding to the application, adding data to the system, making decision, consuming data, so on and so forth. AI is very different.
Yeah. It's more vertical.
Now, AI is actually not selling a workflow anymore.
Yeah.
Workflow is gone in the background. AI is selling intelligence, which is sitting on top of workflow or reimagining the workflow.
Okay.
So the AI cycles are very different. Now, when I look at how people were selling SaaS and now building AI, for AI to be successful, demos and pilots are not relevant anymore. You have to take that system of now, which is actually a system of decision and system of where you actually replicating the last mile from the system to the human, who then uses a lot of other information to make a decision.
Yeah.
You're automating that. That's the intelligence you're selling, right? For it to be successful, a pilot doesn't cut it. You have to implement something that goes in production. That's a minimum criteria.
Okay.
That is integrated with different applications that it will work on. It may have to be implemented for a small sliver, a function of a business, a line of business, maybe a plant out of 100 plants that you might have. But it has to be implemented fully, with the clarity of what ROI is going to give. Customer having to underwrite the ROI.
Yeah.
With a very good clarity that if this was successful and I get this kind of ROI in some range with some baseline, I have a plan to go to the next business unit, in the next business unit or next geography. This is becoming the baseline now. So demo alone is not enough. So when I talk to the founders who say, when you step back and look at the enterprise and when somebody is giving you early break, look for to say, am I implementing? Can I get them to implement this thing for the end-to-end for a small sliver of the business with full integration and ability to measure ROI?
So do you think then it is getting riskier for AI startups right now when you compare it to the SaaS startup, someone who's getting into it? They have to build something that is ready to be in production, not just a pilot.
Answer is yes, but also now the technology that they have at hand to build stuff is so powerful that they can build this kind of stuff much faster than they could do earlier. I think if you listen to Satya Nadella's interview he did last week with Allin.
Yeah.
Look at what he talks about. He talks about that they have collapsed. They have restructured their organization.
Yeah.
Where they said the role of product manager, UX design, front end and back end has been collapsed into one engineer.
Yeah.
So they're kind of restructuring the whole thing. because now you have a set of tools that allow you to do so much more. I think that power is now with these companies, new companies. So yes, technology they can build, but others can do too, which means they need to spend more time trying to understand the business, trying to integrate their solution, make it relevant, understand actual roles that you are augmenting, and ask for the first implementation, full production, even for a smaller sliver of business.
So, Hemant, you were also into coding, right? You were also a developer. You gave that Satya Nadella example, so I have to ask you: Have you used? Have you coded in the last few years? Have you tried any AI coding tools?
So look, I started with I learned English when I learned COBOL.
Okay, go boy. Yeah, yeah,
So of course Fortran, C, Pascal, all of that was those days. Of course, we then migrated to C, C++, etc. But I stopped coding after maybe 20 years ago. But miraculously, come AI, and give you an example. I had one of my senior associates, a very bright young man, undergrad in Singapore, London School of Economics, masters, did great 3 years working with me, decided to go to Harvard Business School. I mean, Harvard MBA is where he went. So you can imagine the intellect. So when he was going, he said, "Hey, Sid, what are we going to do about this? I need to replace somebody." I said, "Yeah, let me help you find." I said, "Well, how about we take all the stuff that you do and you and I go ahead and program and we put it in ChatGPT." So I actually ended up configuring a custom GPT. And today I can tell you, and this was a lot of programming because you tell the GPT, it tells you, gives you the code, tells you where to plug it in.
yeah.
And over time, 2 to 3 months, it got built. In today, if I look at it, it does a lot of tasks which are worth a lot of comparative analysis, assessing the business pitches that come in, and assessing those pitches through our filters of Sama's thesis, my thesis, our playbooks that we like to see from the founders, all sorts of quantitative and qualitative. It creates my first memo with recommendation to say, here are the reasons you should invest or not. And if you like to go forward, here are the questions you want to ask. Here are the things that I looked in the financials. Even before I get the financials, it gives me a good view of this. And a lot of that we expect our associate to research for us. But think about, this was able to do a job that a Harvard MBA level person was spending 80% of their time on. Now, if I had the person still around, he would be doing so many better things. And we're actually doing what I do.
Yeah.
Right. So phenomenal technology that got me back into programming. And now these days, my first propensity is how can I use ChatGPT to create another capability for myself?
But I think that is the type of things that scare people right now, doing multiple jobs. Like as a developer, you're hearing like software engineering is dead. You must have heard it last year. Now people are saying we don't need 10 developers. One developer can do the job. So what do you think of these statements? Do you think software, obviously it has changed completely. Do you think the demand for software engineers would reduce, or do you think the demand for software will increase, so demand for software engineers will also increase?
The latter.
Okay.
But I think the software engineers will need to be themselves, think about themselves as complete full stack engineers who will have to tie up understanding of the business all the way down to understanding of the code. And same Satya Nadella example, I think he brought it very well, that everybody needs to think about being full stack, and the stack just doesn't mean front end or back end. It starts with understanding of the business,
Exactly. Yeah.
the requirements, the conceptualization of a product all the way down into, but the speed with which this can be done with the tool. So people who will use these tools effectively will be better engineers than others.
Yeah.
So advice to any young engineers is you will have plenty of jobs. Just make sure you have equipped yourself with tools.
Yeah, like everyone should be a 10x engineer, basically.
10x is notional, but yeah, make sure that you are very apt at using those tools and also understanding how business functions.
Yeah.
So I think somewhere education system need to catch up and teach them those two things.
Makes sense. So, even coming to the investment part again a little bit. So, since you've started investing a lot of Indian companies and Indian founders that are building for the world, uh, can you give me an example of one of your favorite technology that you invested in recently?
Quite a few examples in terms of technology. So we invest in everything from specifically tech perspective. I invested in everything from enterprise security products to business applications and legal tech to MarTech to routing optimization to fintech, and going into supply chain. And all of them have spectrum from SaaS migrating to AI first, and then and AI for services. This is the entire spectrum. But one thing that jumps to my mind since you asked is I made a bet about 2 years ago in a completely young founder, repair founder, but this young founder had founded this company, which is India's first EV tractor.
Oh, wow.
And you will say, why? What are you doing as an enterprise investor into a tractor company that do EV, that to EV? So when I met these founding team, I saw that they built a nice EV platform. Okay, not sold a single one yet. Nobody else had sold a single one yet, right?
Yeah.
But the vision was that the market itself is so large that India is 50% of the world's market. And within India, 50% of that market is non-agricultural.
Okay.
So these people had a vision to say, we are only going to go after enterprises. Oh, I said, if you're going to talk about enterprise, I'm interested.
Yeah.
Then if you look at, when I looked at the company and I look at the vision to say what an enterprise solution with tractor as a platform mean, it is a lot more than putting battery and a motor on 4 wheels. It's an entire stack that includes AI, telemetry, cloud, software, fleet management, all of that. And when I saw that, it kind of business model evolved, and happy to say that this company is the leading one in the market today.
Yeah.
And there's just a lot of traction.
So I think
that's my pet company to talk about while I talk. While I spend a lot of all my time in Silicon Valley trying to meet and work with a lot of enterprise AI software founders. This would be one example that stands out to say we can't look at software in a solitary way. You will see a lot of people disrupting a lot of non-sexy areas, whether industries or workflows, by leveraging AI and technology in a very different way. And they will challenge the incumbents.
So what was the first thing you did? Did you ride the tractor? Like, how was the experience like getting into that? Like, the tractor doesn't make any sound, obviously. It's like,
that's it. So you see all the videos. No, I did get to go ride the tractor up until the year after I invested. But I think it was their understanding of the market was very sharp. They told me why certain industries would buy, because what's happening in their industry and what is the TCO, total cost of ownership, and what is the ROI these industries can get to make their bottom line happen. And they extensively talked to these industries they're going into. So I felt there was an opportunity to make the market here. And that's what they're performing to right now.
I think off the camera, you were also talking about this is one of the only companies that is building something from India for India as well.
No. So let me qualify that. In my tech portfolio, this is the only one that is building India for India. We have a whole another portfolio for India consumer, India fintech. It's heavily India for India only. Companies like PayTM, which are all Sula. We done so many Mokobara that you spoke about. You see Veeba, phenomenal companies. But when I look at my enterprise lens, so barring this particular company, all my other investments are building from India or global for global market. Here we wanted them to focus on India because market is large. Right? Now, when we mature and get to something, yes, we'll go into exports and all, but there's no need right now. Right? So I just want to qualify it. But all my technology investments are, whether founders are here or in other markets, they're building for global markets.
And what advice would you give to companies that you look at here and they want to go abroad and maybe sell to customers abroad?
But I'll qualify this one thing before that. I'm actively looking for companies in India building software-based disruption or AI-based disruption to disrupt something in India market. I'm not averse. I'm actually actively looking. What blueprint that hasn't worked very well in my scouting, and I may be wrong, there are a few companies that are successful. I will build here in India for now, get to certain number, then I will move to US and I'll be 10x the number. That script a lot of people tried. It is not their problem. It is more the industry wasn't mature. So that's not when I say we look for. But if they have clarity of the market and the problem they are solving, and that problem is large enough and dollars behind them are sizable to have an outcome, we're all for it. So in fact, I'm looking for people to say, show me that you're disrupting a certain industry in this market. Doesn't matter whichever market it is.
Yeah.
So clarity of market is important.
Definitely.
Now let's talk about the question you asked as to people who are building from here going to US.
Yeah.
Of course, many smart founders are doing that. They should continue to, because I see lot of potential in the cohort of founders that I saw, which were SaaS founders 1.0. Some of these founders did well, some of them did not, but they learned a lot. They became SaaS 2.0. Now many of them are starting to become AI 1.0 from that migration.
Yes. Yeah.
I think they're a lot more resilient founders. They have gone through the hardships to understand what did not work, and they're implementing that in their new blueprints of their businesses. What should they look for? I think, again, comes back to simple stuff. Build for the market where you see you want to sell.
Okay. Yeah.
Be in that market first, if possible. And that's what a lot of funds also do. Say, hey, we'll fund you, we'll give you seed capital. I think we like the idea, your early research. Move here, sit here, 6 months, just learn the market, talk to people before you start building. Because it's very hard to retrofit a product that you build for one market to go take it to another market. Yes, there are certain products which are very horizontal, but those products typically sell through product-led growth itself.
Okay.
As compared to sell vertical enterprise products, right?
Yeah.
So my advantage is, my view is, understand the market you are going to go after, and if so, be in that market.
I think I have a little bit of a contention on that. Like if you see a lot of new AI startups that are coming up from India, they started, I think, last year something like a Skip India movement. They were not staying here; they were going abroad, maybe earning for 1 year, 2 year, like earning 10 million ARR or something, and then coming back and starting to build for India. Do you think that? Do you think that is a good step to like skip India and then?
No, see, it's nothing about skip India or not. If technology by itself doesn't sell, technology is there to disrupt something or solve a problem.
Yeah.
Then you have to find a problem. So, and the problem exists in a certain geography, certain context. Be in that context. If that context you find in India and you're going to be the first, I mean, who has to argue about PayTM? Did they go out? Who has to argue about your large e-commerce platforms? Snapdeal was one of our other companies, right? People use the technology available at that time to solve the problem which was large enough for this bucket. So if that's the context, there is no need for you to skip India. But if you're building an enterprise software for supply chain planning and you think the market is sitting in the US, then yeah, you have to go where the market is. But then you find an application of that problem where you can become an intermediary for the entire manufacturing base that's coming up with the big manufacturing movement in India, and you become the intermediary. Might as well, all power to you. You should do that.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
So how do you see this current movement that is happening in India, like the Swadeshi tech movement? Like Zoho is there, MapMyIndia is there. Everyone wants to build in India. So what are your views on that?
I think India is a market. If we are to go from $4 trillion economy today to $8 trillion economy, we are going to have to consume more. We're going to have more companies. Those companies are going to need technologies. Those companies are going to need more organized, all sorts of networks, which are supply chain networks or buy side, sell side, arbitration network, or what may. And I think there's tremendous opportunity for people to build new businesses and reimagine the way things are done. Just think about macro level. If you're going from 4 to 8 trillion, there is so much more that you could do here. And but somebody has to find the problem that they are passionate about and stick to the market.
Yeah. So do you see any problem in current AI founders of India that should be addressed? Not AI founders, and they're struggling as well a lot to raise capital. And well, I mean, you are helping them obviously, but do you see any common trend that you come across AI startups in India? Any common mistake maybe they're making?
I think one or two things I can talk about that I observe more so than not. Very high aspiration, great young minds. They are trying to solve a problem, but more often than not, they end up reverting to solving a problem for the cohort they know. Okay. Cohort they know are other SaaS founders. So if I was to talk to 10 people, 6 people will be building, and when I ask them, who are you building this for? Their answer will be that I'm building for B2B SaaS companies.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
It's not a cohort large enough. Because now naturally your propensity, because you have access to those businesses, because their founders are your friends, their founders that you know, they have been your ex-colleagues, so they will give you a chance. Yes, but if you start solving that problem for that being your segment, then that segment is fairly narrow, and that segment is very uh, unpredictable, because there are ups and downs. People, not every company, B2B SaaS company, makes it to the stage where they're meaningful customers for you. Some of them will wind down, so churn is high.
Yeah.
So my advice to them is to step back a little bit, and when people talk about segment, think about banking and financial services, manufacturing, pharma, healthcare. Within that, find a function that you're building for, as compared to solving a sales problem for another SaaS company that may or may not exist tomorrow.
Yeah.
So don't put, because you have finite time and opportunity cost to put your effort in a certain direction.
Yeah.
So judge that well. That's my 2 cents on that. Judge where you're going well. Because you have to put, no matter what, startup is hard. You have to put all the effort anyways.
Yeah.
So sometimes finding friendlies to give you business and solving their problem and feeling excited about it might be a path of least resistance, but may not be the path of best outcome.
That's right. Yeah.
Hopefully that makes sense.
Definitely. And so, how do you see India's role evolving when it comes to the global enterprise tech?
See, India is already in a global enterprise tech ecosystem, fairly embedded. Every big name that's out there in the valley has large operations here. So you already, people are getting exposed to for many years, 20, 30 years. When the large SIs built out of here, India probably end up becoming, it may have started as a cost play, but after 10, 20 years, if you had to do a large ERP project, you had to do it with SI who has large India presence, because that's where the skills are.
Yeah. Yeah.
Same thing is now happening with the rest of the technology. So the skill base is here.
Yeah.
Right. Now that skill base, whether it gets applied to build companies to solve the problem in this country, solve the problems for this region in MENA, or South Asia, or what may, or solve global problems, is the perception and a view of how people will apply those technologies and target the market. So India is already playing.
Yeah.
Right. Now, what kind of companies will come out of that? This the time will tell. I think the outlook is very positive.
Okay. Do you see any impact of AI on these SIs and Indian companies? Like a lot of OpenAI, Anthropic, and everyone is coming to India. There are a lot of GCCs coming to India. Do you think it's all this mixed with AI is going to impact the IT services industry?
I think yes and no. Let me put it this way. To get any technology to be relevant and useful in enterprise, it takes a lot more than just building the technology.
Yeah.
Right? You have to understand the business context. You have to understand the existing baggage technology debt that the companies have, their processes, their industry, how these current systems operate. You can't just stop functioning and put some new technology and create disruption, how they are integrated. So SIs know this very well.
Okay.
And they have built billions and tens of billions of dollars of business on top of that. Now they all are building their capabilities and into AI and disrupting what they themselves do. The biggest challenge what many of the larger companies have, SIs, BPOs, is to cannibalize their own revenue stream. So hence sometimes it takes a little longer time for them to realign the ship.
I think that
They will realign the ship. There is no, the momentum always speaks.
Yeah.
But there is an opportunity for a very nimble AI first SIs in that space to quickly grow.
Okay.
And be meaningful.
Yeah.
To either challenge them or honestly get acquired by them. Because all of them are going to be sitting on, they already are sitting on large balance sheets. Right?
Yeah.
That's how I look at the world, to say this is the time to win in the turn.
I think that makes sense because as we were discussing off camera as well, like a lot of smaller firms are now growing faster than the larger firms. So I think that is something that is already happening. And they're all saying that AI is the biggest reason of that because all of their deals are now AI infused. So I think that completely makes sense. Maybe they'll get acquired someday. And
I think, yeah. The world will reshape, but this gives an opportunity for nimbler, smarter folks to challenge the incumbents and get a good outcome for themselves. And you may see the new Infosys and TCS and Accenture coming out of that. And you will also see the existing TCS, Infosys, Accenture get bigger and better.
That would be interesting to see. So, as according to you, Indian IT is not in trouble. Then we can just say that clearly.
I expect them to transform with their time, and they will.
Yeah. So, if you've been in the tech field and now in the investing field for the last 3 years, and you've been in the tech field for a very long time, and so if you had to start again today, uh, what would you do differently in this AI world? If some new people are listening,
No, I would do very differently. Here is what I would do. I would find, and that's where I'm investing too, honestly. I would find the most unobvious industry and most mundane problem to solve. And I will try not to sell a software. I'll try to sell an outcome. I'll tell you two things that's happening. While AI is getting adopted in large enterprises, there is lot, I would not say more, but as much opportunity exists in solving problems for small and medium-sized businesses, where some of those problems haven't even been digitized today. Okay. Those problems are still manual. People still, for example, marketing, they go work with marketing agency to create a campaign. They go work with marketing agencies to create videos for them, right? The people who are imagining how to use AI to actually take end-to-end proposition for a small firm. They're not even hire agency, but AI actually can be your agency. Today, a small D2C company cannot imagine to hire Kantar, right?
Yeah.
But can Kantar be an AI in front of box package for this agency, for this DTC? I think there's a lot of opportunity was exists in that segment, and you can only imagine what all you can disrupt. There are a lot of complex ecosystems, second part, which are still not connected through technology, because either the technology wasn't there or the connections were relatively complex and lot of unstructured decision making, unstructured information flow that existed.
Yeah.
So people still are primarily through email, phone calls. I think AI has shifted the agentic piece, and the intelligence that goes to the last mile can disrupt how the industries supply chains work with each other. And I'm not talking about physical product supply chain. I'm talking about just think about series of companies that work with their contractors and subcontractors and their suppliers and their partners. There's a lot of opportunity of disintermediation in that space. If I was to do something, I would do something in the space where I can find an opportunity to apply AI to disrupt something versus go and sell AI as a product.
Okay. Like selling the outcome, as you said, like
Sell an outcome and sit at the center of the network and create and benefit from the network effect that you can create.
And so currently, right now, what is the thing that keeps you most excited when it comes to tech and investing?
Just all that we talked about, because its possibilities are enormous. What you can imagine can become true. So I every day wake up to see what interesting thing I'm going to hear today. I don't have to go and judge the person and say, can they do it? That comes later. But people are coming up with some very novel ideas to say, I have looked at this problem and nobody has looked at it. I want to go solve this. Now, then there's everything that happens from the idea to execution is a big chasm. Some will fall in that, some will cross it.
Yeah.
But that's exciting. So there's no one area, but I would think every facet of our life will change. And I give an example to say, see, somebody figured out how to split an atom, how to create electricity, how to create power plants, how to create transmission lines, and now they got electricity to your plug point on the wall.
Yeah.
Right. That's all your infra players, your NVIDIAs and your OpenAIs and Microsoft. They all figured out Google Labs. You have electricity, which is intelligence coming to your tap. Think about how many companies now can come out and build all sorts of appliances.
Yeah.
Right.
That is like the outcome also that you were talking about.
Right.
Looking at
which means the amount of innovation that can happen, just assuming that now the intelligence is available on the socket, on the tap, what all people will imagine. Then as an investor, you look at to say, which of these segments do I like? Home and appliances? Do I like heavy equipments? Do I like automobiles? Just giving an analogy of how I would think about it.
Yeah. I think even 2 years after, I think 3 years now after ChatGPT was launched, things have already changed a lot. It's crazy to imagine what would happen in the next 4 or 5 years when AI gets embedded into almost everything soon.
And this time you look at this change when the first Transformer GPT-1, whatever came out, not 3.5, I guess.
Yeah.
It was November of 2021. 2022.
Yeah.
November 2022.
Yeah.
3 years in, the world has changed, and that we've never seen it change this fast.
Yeah. Not even with electricity.
Yeah, it was not. So it's just extrapolate, right? So I don't know.
We're just in the beginning of maybe Newton's doing something, finding gravity or something like that. So one last question before we end this conversation. It was very insightful. And thank you so much for joining us here. What are your thoughts on AGI?
That's a long one. I don't know. Look, I've been listening to a lot of experts, a lot of podcasts like many of you are. There are AGI frameworks that Google has and OpenAI has, and all the heads of the research labs talk about it. It's what's the baseline for AGI? I still struggle with, but I think gradually we are going to get more and more intelligence, which is very systemic, which is going to be pervasive. Now, what we do with this intelligence is up to individuals, is up to communities, societies, countries, and us as a human race.
Yeah.
So, what do I think about it? I hope we can use it wisely.
Yeah.
But I do know, or I feel it will be here, and it will be here sooner than we all think.
Any timeline you're looking at?
I don't know. I wish I had this crystal ball, but I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, Hemant, thank you so much for coming to our studio and joining us for this podcast. It was lovely and extremely insightful talking to you. And I hope the audience learns a lot because they definitely will. And yeah, please keep talking and keep giving your thoughts, throwing them at the world, and people will gain a lot of insights.
And likewise, I said, I really enjoyed this. And these are only my views as a point in time. 3 months from now, we may talk about same topics and we may have changed our views.
Maybe AGI would be sitting here.
AGI will be sitting here. We may. But thing is, let's just all enjoy learning and reacting and somewhere projecting and being where the puck is going to be as compared to where it is today.
Yeah.
That's the fun part of the life.
On that note, yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you.